Hello friends, this is Aarti Karnuke, Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering Department at Tulsiramji Gaikwad Patil College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur, accredited with NAC A+ grade. I welcome you all in the next lecture of Building Construction and Material. So in this lecture we are going to discuss about the deep foundation. So as we know that the foundation can be classified into two types. First is the shallow foundation and another one is the deep foundation. So in my last lecture I have discussed about the shallow foundation. So in this lecture we are going to discuss about the deep foundation. So the basic difference between deep foundation and shallow foundation are in case of the deep foundation, the depth of the foundation is greater than its width, and in case of the shallow foundation, the depth of the foundation is less than its width. So if the depth of the foundation is greater than its width, the foundation is known as the deep foundation. So basically the depth to width ratio in case of the deep foundation is usually occurs between 4 to 5 meter. So if we compare deep foundation to the shallow foundation, so distribute the load of the superstructure vertically rather than laterally in case of the deep foundation. So a pile foundation is an example of deep foundation. A pile is a slender column made up of concrete or steel. So basically we can say that there are the following form of the deep foundation. First is the pile foundation, cofferdams, and caisson or valve foundation. So when we use deep foundation, where in case where the strata of good bearing capacity is not available near the ground. The second reason is the space is restricted to allow for the spread footing. So in these cases the foundation of the structure has to be taken deep with the purpose of attaining a bearing stratum which is suitable and which ensure the stability and durability of the structure. So the bearing stratum is not the only case. There are many other cases which we have to consider. For example, the foundation for a beach pier is most placed below the core depth, although the suitable bearing stratum may exist at the higher level. So as we know, a pile foundation is an example of the deep foundation. A pile is a slender column made up of wood, concrete, or steel. The pile is either driven into the soil or formed into in situ by cutting a core in the ground and then filling it with the concrete. So a group of piles are provided up to the required depth and capped with the RCC slab. The structure is built over the pile cap, so the piles transfer the load to the soil by the friction or by the direct bearing. In case of the direct bearing, the piles are taken into the hard strata. So pile foundation work out to be economical if the topsoil is not capable of taking the load even at the 3 meters. So basically in case of the pile foundation, the main components is the pile and the another one is the pile cap. As we earlier discussed that the pile are long and slender member which transfer the load to the deeper soil or a rock of high bearing capacity, avoiding shallow soil to low bearing capacity, and the pile cap are thick slab used to tie a group of pile together to support and transmit the column load to the piles. So where we used pile foundation, where the stratum of required bearing capacity is greater depth, steep slopes are encountered, compressible soil or waterlogged soil or a soil of made up tie-up. So as you can see in this figure, these are the pile foundation. So these are the types of pile based on the function. Let us discuss one by one. So first is the end bearing piles. So these bearings piles rest on the hard strata and transfer the load by bearing. Such piles are preferred as they are economical if the hard layer is available at reasonable depth. So these piles by themselves don't support the load, rather act as a medium to transmit the load from the foundation to the resistance substratum. Next is the screen friction piles. So basically in this piles transfer the load by friction between the soil and pile. This type of pile is preferred if the hard strata is not available even at the considerable depth. So the frictional resistance should be assessed before deciding the length of the pile. So the surface of such piles is made rough to increase the screen friction so as to reduce the required depth. So the load bearing capacity of friction pile can be increased by increasing the diameter of the pile, driven the pile for a larger depth, grouping of pile, and making surface of the pile rough. So as you can see in the figure, this is the end bearing pile and this is the friction pile. So basically sheet piles are used to construct retaining walls in docks and other than material works, to protect erosion of the river banks, to retain the sides of the foundation trenches. So here it's the figure of sheet piles, how it can look. So the next is anchor piles. So these piles are used to provide anchorage against horizontal pull from the sheet piling wall or other pulling forces. Next is the batter piles. So these piles are used driven at the inclination to resist large horizontal and inclined forces. Then fender piles. These piles are used to protect concrete deck or other water front structure from the abrasion or impact caused from the ships or barges. Then compaction pile, when the piles are driven in granular soil with the aim of increasing the bearing capacity of the soil. So in that case we will go for the compaction pile. So these are the classification of pile according to material used. So the pile may be classified as timber piles, concrete piles, composite piles, and steel piles. So basically in timber pile, so basically seasoned wooden piles may be used as a pile. The pile diameter may vary from the 200 to 400 mm. Similarly, square piles are the size 200 to 400 mm are also used. If we are talking about the length of the timber pile should not be more than 20 times their lateral dimension. The bottom of the pile is sharp and provided with an iron shoe so that it can be driven in the ground easily when hammered. To avoid decay, the top of wooden piles should be below water table. These piles are chipped and can be driven easily. So basically the disadvantage of timber piles is that their load carrying capacity is low and they are likely to be damaged while being driven into the soil. So this is the figure of timber pile. So next is the concrete pile. So basically it classified into precast piles, cast in situ piles, and pre-stressed concrete pile. So the cast in situ concrete piles are formed by first boring holes in the ground and then concreting the hole. Casting tubes are used for concreting. If the hole is filled with the plain concrete only, it is known as pressure pile. The load carrying capacity of pile may be increased by providing enlarged base, that is by making a bulk at the base. Next is the composite piles. So basically composite pile may be of a timber and concrete or a steel and concrete. Wooden pile should not be subjected to alternate wet and dry condition to avoid decay. Hence they are preferred for a position below the water level. The portion above water table are built up with the concrete. If the available length of the steel pile is less than the required depth of the pile, the upper portion are often built with the concrete. Thus sometimes steel and concrete composite piles becomes necessary. Steel I section, tube or box type fabric section as These piles are used as a bearing piles since the surface are smooth, providing less frictional resistance. If the tube or a box section are used, the soil inside the section is usually driven out by compressed air and concrete is filled. The piles may be hammered. Steel or cast iron piles are sometimes provided. Screw at the lowest end with the cap at the top. They are driven down by applying the torque to the cap. So the steel pile are commonly used for columns where close to existing structure as they disturb the soil list. So this is a figure of steel pile. So these are the some causes of failure of pile. Unequal settlement of subsoil, then unequal settlement of masonry, then horizontal movement of the soil adjoining the structure, then shrinkage, horizontal movement of the soil and adjoining the structure, shrinkage due to the withdrawal of moisture from the soil below the foundation, then lateral pressure tending to overturn the structure, then action of atmosphere, lateral escape of soil below the foundation. So basically, if the unequal settlement of subsoil, the subsoil may have a unequal settlement due to different pressure at the different portion, or due to unequal safe bearing capacity under the different portion of a building. So the preventive measure are as like the foundation should rest on the hard strata, the SBC should not be exceed under the any combination of loads, then a foundation should be designed so as get uniform pressure on soil. Then next is the subsoil moisture movement, like expensive soil like black cotton soil crack and sinks when they are dry and expand due to the increase into moisture content in the rainy season. The cause upward pressure on the foundation resulting in a failure. To avoid such failures, expensive soil should be completely removed from the site. This causes upward pressure on the foundation resulting in the failure. To avoid such failures, expensive soil should be completely removed from the side and bottom of the foundation if the depth of the expensive soil is great, and the foundation should be on piles driven up to the hard strata. Next, another cause is the movement of subsoil. Sometimes the movement of subsoil takes due to the various factors like flow of rainwater close to the foundation, then leakage of water from the water supply pipes and sanitary pipes of the building, then percolation of water through the pervious bathroom floors. So to prevent such failures, we have to measure need to taken, like providing a flagging concrete of 800 to 1000 mm width around the building and suitable drain from the rainwater flow, then making joints in the pipe watertight. Then the unequal settlement of masonry, the mortar joints in the foundation may shrink evenly due to the excessive loads. This is particularly so if the foundation course are built before the mortar settles. It is advisable not to build more than 1 meter height of the foundation masonry in a day, and the joint thin used in a stiff mortar is to be preferred. Atmospheric action, then heavy rains, forced action may cause the deterioration of the foundation. Water should not be allowed to the near the building. Foundation trenches should be filled with the good soil. Water should be drained away from the wall and allow the move in the properly built drainages. So next is the driven pile. So basically these piles are deep foundation elements driven into the design depth. If the penetration of dense soil is required, pre-drilling may be required for the pile to penetrate to the design depth. So these types include timber, precast concrete, steel, edge pipes and pipe tiles. Then agar cast pile. So as you can see in the figure, augers used for boring and collecting the soil sample at a different depth. At one end, cutting edge is provided with an arrangement to collect the sample, while the other end is provide the thread so that whenever necessary they may connect it with the additional rod. The bore is made by turning the auger into the ground for the short distance. It is then withdrawn along with soil sample sticking to it. The soil collected is tested in the laboratories to study its property. The agar is again driven and taken out. The process of agar boring sample collection is repeated till the required depth reached. So basically, the diameter of agar holes varies from 100 to 120 mm. Agar can be used for exploring the soil up to the 6 to 8 meter. In case of the exploration in sandy soil, a casing, some piles may be used to retain sample. This casing should be slightly larger diameter than the agar. In case of the loose sand, the agars may be used even up the depth of 15 meter from for exploration. So as you can see in the figure, if the foundation is weak, then what happen? Then the next is the cofferdam. So a cofferdam is a temporary structure built around a construction site to remove water and make a construction area reasonable dry. Cofferdams are required in the construction of dams, docks, bridge pier, and sometimes in a building. The essential requirement of cofferdams are it should be economical, it should be the construction site reasonable dry, it should be not fail due to the flood, it should be easy to dismantle, and the material should be reusable. So basically, following are the types of the cofferdam, like sandbag dike, earth fill cofferdam, then rock fill cofferdam, single wall cofferdam, double wall cofferdam, etc. So the earthen cofferdam, this type of cofferdam is used where the depth of the water is very low, velocity of flow is low, there is no danger of water flow, good clay is available near the side. So the suitable slope are provided to the embankment, and drain is to provided on this side of the working area. Sometimes sheet piles are provided to make the cofferdam more watertight. So this is the figure of earth fill cofferdam. Next is the rock fill cofferdam. So basically, rock fill cofferdam may be used when the depth of water is up to 3 meter. So they can also sustain the swift water flow. On the water side, the rock fill is to be provided with an impervious layer of earth. This is the figure. Then the single wall cofferdam. So basically, if the area of to be covered is small, a single row of pile is used on the all side of cofferdam. So the sheet piles may be of wood, pre-stressed or reinforced concrete or steel. The depth of water may be up to 25 meter. Then the double wall cofferdam. So if the area is enclosed large, double wall cofferdam are preferred. So basically, this type of cofferdam used for the construction of long span bridge piers across the wide rivers or backwater areas. So the cellular cofferdams are suitable for enclosing the large area. So basically, these cofferdams are quite expensive. So two typical cellular cofferdams are used for this. Like diaphragm cellular cofferdams have a straight cross wall connected by the series of arcs. Usually the radius of arc is equal to the distance between the cross wall. In case of the cellular cofferdams, full circle are connected by arc. The adjacent cell are filled with the material like brick, bats, pebble soil, etc. The cell should be designed for the tension in film, sliding and overturning. So next is the caissons. Basically, caissons is a water tight chamber in which the underwater construction work can be done. After the work is completed, the caisson become a permanent part of the construction. Caisson are used in the construction of bridge pier, building columns, or to provide access to a deep shaft or a tunnel. They may be used to impervious core wall of earthen dam, or to provide an enclosure of installing machinery. So there are different types of the caissons, including box, open, Pneumatic. So basically the Cation foundation is also known as a pier foundation. Cation is a cylindrical or hollow box that is sunk into the ground to up to the specified depth by arguing a deep hole into the strata. The cylinder or a box is then filled with the concrete, thus the creating of the foundation. This foundation is most often used when the constructing a beach pier and others such as foundation. So basically open Cation, box Cation and pneumatic Cation are the types of the Cation. So first is the open Cation. So basically this type of Cation is also known as a well. It is open at the top as well as the bottom. It consists of a curb cutting edge and a staining. Usually RCC curb with the steel cutting edges are used. Only 1 to 2 meter height is built on the cutting edges before the well is floated on the side. The staining may be masonry or a steel lined timber outside the masonry. So basically various shape of open Cations are used depending upon the size and the shape of the piers. So basically after placing the Cation, it is in its correct position. It is sunk by excavating the soil near the cutting edges. Sometimes it control by blasting may be necessary. Initially the Cation sink due to its own weight, but later on it becomes necessary to load the Cation. Staining is built further as the sinking continues, so lots of care is to be taken to see that the sinking is vertically downward only. Weight may be adjusting to achieve, and also by excavating the soil in the portion necessary to achieve it. So this is the figure. So next is the box Cation. So basically this type of Cation is used if the bearing capacity if the bearing strata are available at shallow depth and loads are not heavy. It is commonly used for a breakwater and sea walks. So these Cations are open at top and closed at bottom. So they are made of a timber, reinforced concrete or a steel. They are built on the land and then floated on the site and sunk. So it is typically RCC Cation. Before sinking a box Cation, a bearing surface is leveled by the sand filling. The Cation is then sunk by filling it with the sand or gravel. After that, the top of the Cation is then plugged. Then the pneumatic Cations, so basically it may be used for a depth of 12 to 35 meter. This type of Cation is closed at the top and open at the bottom. In this case, compressed air is used to increase the pressure inside the Cation so that the water is excluded in the chamber, thus it gives a dry working area. However, care should be taken to see that the high pressure does not pose the health and hazard for the workers. So basically the typical pneumatic Cations, after the desired depth is reached, the bottom of the Cation is plugged with the concrete. So basically advantages of these pneumatic Cations is that they enable quality control in the work as the work is done by in dry condition. The disadvantage is that they are costly and safely measures are required for the workers. So basically well foundation are being used in India from very early days. Taj Mahal was built on a such foundation. So why to use a Cation foundation? So basically this type of foundation will keep the soils underneath the building or a structure from moving vertically, since the soil will settle over the time. The building or a structure on the top of the soil will settle. This can be caused major structural damage. Since a caisson foundation is drilled into the earth and large concrete is filled cylinder are placed within the ground rather than a top, the settlement of the soil will not cause many difficulties for building or the structure. So basically this is a figure of box caisson. I have already explained in the previous slide about the box caisson. So basically these are the disadvantages of agar piles. Then advantages and disadvantages of driven concrete pile. So here we conclude today's lecture on deep foundation. Thank you.